Welcome to my channel. My name is Valerio and today we're gonna review something different than usual. This is a die-cast model from Wave and this is the Goshogun. I bought this one on eBay in Japan for something like 13,000 yen, which is around, I don't know, 80 bucks, 90 bucks. And this is a die-cast pre-made kind of transforming robot. And this is the first die-cast robot that I buy from Wave. While I'm pretty familiar with their resin kit and their plastic kit, this is the first thing that I saw into this line, which looks like it's going to be a new line from them. So I was pretty excited for a couple of reasons. First of all, very different price that from what everybody else is showing up in this kind of market. Second, well, just very curious about it. I've never been a giant fan of Goshogun. I mean, I knew of its existence growing up, but this is where I learned about it. And I do know the Mosho recently published a model of it, but it's a very big model, way more expensive than this one. And I'm pretty limited the space where I can keep my collectibles, so I didn't feel like putting a 30 centimeter robot that I can barely remember the name of. So when Wave presented at the same time as robot, I say, you know what, maybe the Wave one is gonna be the one for me. And I'm pretty happy with it. Now, there are two versions of this robot. One is the first edition limited version, and then they're gonna release another version. The main difference between version 1 and version 2 is that the Go Flasher, which are the like peacock kind of tails on the back. In the normal version, there's going to be only the yellow one. In the limited version, there's going to be also the blue one. That's all. Honestly, you could spray paint the blue over that, and they're gonna look as good as. So don't worry about it. Now let's look inside the box to check the accessories. And surprise, for this kind of price, there is quite a bit of stuff. Now we have the manual, which I call toilet paper manual because it's so freaking thin and black and white and so poor. Guys, you can spend a couple of bucks more. I know this is very cheap, but at least like, you know, $1 more. Now we have the tiny robot that kind of divide himself into three parts that transform. So even this guy, I think, has die cast. It is fully painted. The joints are pretty stiff, so pay attention not to move it abruptly. But if you go slow, they shouldn't give any problem. It is mildly posable, a bit more than a transformer in the same scale. There is no butterfly joint, but you know, it transforms and combines. It is solid, it's super solid. Now we have two extra hands. These are like the expressive hands. So they connect onto this kind of platform. They give for more mobility versus normal ball peg. This is the tail. As I was saying, the blue one, limited edition, yellow one inside every box. There is a giant axe, pretty cool. They have a pretty weird choice of color, very different from the one that we normally see into the diecast world. There are sprue lines over it here and there, but that's okay. Now we have a giant bazooka. They're not super light, like they are well painted, everything is painted, and I'm pretty surprised about the heft of some of it. And this is this word that I will say is a white aluminum color. Once again, weird color, not bad. Just very hard to see this kind of stuff. Normally coloring to the diecast robot world is always the same. And now you see a couple of expressive ends for the tiny robot. Now we're gonna remove our main guy from the box, and we will see the Goshogun. So the Goshogun, it is 18 centimeter, or in inches, 7 inches. And so it's not small, and once you take it out of the box, you feel immediately the heft of the diecast. This is not a light robot at all. It gives you immediately the impression of quality when you pull it out. That at this price point, we haven't seen it in so many years, guys, that this is like, I was expecting something like a model kit, to be completely honest. And this is surprising. The other big surprise out of it is that 100% of it is colored, which I was like, huh? Really? How did they do it? Like, it's not everything is perfect, but if you take it out of the box and you quickly look at it, it's pretty impressive. Plus there is also a LED gimmick inside of it that once again it is surprising into this price, at this price point. Now we flip it into another side again. Oh, there are LEDs on the back. So Really, everything is colored. The only thing that I don't like are the hole for the screws, but still, price point, very, very, very good. Now let's look a bit about how posable it is. The head can go left and right, up and down. The arm can easily reach shoulder level. Double joint, fully closure with elbow. Yeah, it's not one of the most sophisticated elbow closure ever, but whatever. Bicep swivel. Then we have the arm that I was saying is a ball peg on the top of that platform. Butterfly joint like there is no tomorrow. A bit of left and right west movement, not too much, is the most limited one, and there is a bit of up crunch, which is still pretty cool. Now we can go into a split. Yep. So the joint on the legs, they are not the hardest one. I wonder if I can kind of tighten them up with some screws. Is the only thing that I didn't like it. They're friction joints, but I mean ratchet joints at this point are the expensive version, but they still hold well. They feel just a bit lighter than everything else. Like I would have liked a bit more resistance. And the foot can go left and right, up and down. Now, articulation wise, this is pretty great within this price range. Does everything that it has to do, and even a tiny bit more. I mean, as of now, this is like pretty great. Now for the transformation, guys, I tried to do it on video, but then halfway through I found out why the transformation is pretty easy. The attachment of the parts of this robot are not. So we will create, well, these are technically 3 starship, but you have to use a lot of fantasy for it. So you remove the top part, you remove the arms, and there it is. You can plug it inside the leg of the robot. I will show later. For the other parts, you want to have a spludger, because, well, they're pretty tight. So the main body becomes the most recognizable as a starship. Same with the legs. You need to use a tiny bit of strength. Don't worry, it's not gonna explode in your hand, but don't feel like Hulk when you're doing. Still, remember, you see I had to remove it just out of screen. You just need to unplug it, and then there is the head of the starship, which is plugged inside. And once more, not super easy. You need to use something like a toothpick to remove it from there. Yeah, maybe this is the only thing I will ask the Wave to look it back over it. And yeah, give me a second. Ta-da! Here it is. So yeah, this looks a tiny bit more as a starship, but you know, it's very tiny. We're speaking like less than half an inch. And now we have the leg, and once again with all of the parts of the mini robot, I don't remember the name. There are some, not issue, but it's challenging to remove the wings as if they were done for people with very small hands. Now, I don't know if you can kind of understand from the video, I have massive hands, so kind of a problem. But if you use the power of your mouth to extract it, or even a toothpick, once more you will be able to, you know, put it into position. There it is. Yep. Now transform it into a tiny starship of 3 of them. They go and plug inside the Goshogun. Still not the most, not the most transformation, like most mind-blowing transformation, but still pretty cool. Now you open the chest and you put the main body inside the chest and the other 2 parts into the 2 legs. You don't have to do it. You can 100% leave them out. You're not gonna reduce articulation or anything. Okay, you see that here. Yeah, you need to fold the head of the starship inside, and because I made this video once and I forgot to cut it off, yeah, you will not. I will have to cut it and then plug it. It's very easy. Don't worry, we're almost at the end of the video. I know this is a bit gruesome, but trust me, this is gonna be the best 15 seconds of your life. And here it is that I just decided to, you know, do it off camera. Yes, plugged it inside. No problem. Yeah, it doesn't click, but there is no need. My leg is pretty stable. Now to open the legs, you need to pull up the kneecap, and yeah, and then you just open it. Pretty tight. You put inside one of the parts of the robot. You plug them in and they're secured inside. They will not dance inside of it, they're pretty well kept. Same thing on the other side. And give me a second. We plug them. And ta-da, we finished to combine. I mean, combine is a very big word, but we have all our robots together. It now is 10 grams more, and if you have the battery, you can attach the battery inside. They are magnetically turned on with the feet of the robot, of the tiny robot, and that will put the tails on fire. Let's say it put light on it. Now let's go with comparison. Lego Dude, very small. Steve, the Lego Dude. Now we have Yatto Dettaman from Ryobot Sentinel. It is a small robot, so it is still smaller than him. Now we have the X-Kaiser from Takaratomi, very tiny, not very big actually, very very large. I will not review it, but here it is. And now we have the Mazin Emperor from Sentinel, which is a tad bigger, but that's okay, supposed to be bigger. Think so at least. Now let me go for comparison. Sorry, not comparison, conclusion. So I don't know if in the English community is the same, but in the Italian community there's been for 10 years the complaint about the increased prices of diecast model. Increases, well, in dimension people don't complain, but let's say it's mainly about the increase in pricing and 225 different versions of the same robot. Now, this is a robot of which there are not too many representation of, just lately a couple. And the price of this one is pretty spot on. The articulation is great. There are a ton of accessories. It is very well painted. It is very well done. The only thing that doesn't satisfy me 100% is the sculpt. Knowing that Wave has some great sculptor, I think this is a tiny bit undertone, but because I'm used to some other of their stuff. And guys, other than that, well, yes, the tiny robot is very, like, you need to have very very tiny hands to be able to do it without a splurge or a toothpick to transform it. But for everybody else, this is like freaking, like, other than that, and I'm really nitpicking to the maximum level, this is an amazing product at an amazing price point that does everything that a diecast robot need to do, even a bit more. And well, that is great, guy. I hope that you will buy it and that you will like it as much of me, because we want to. I do think that if you like something, you need to put your money where your mouth it is, and hopefully we will see other robots from Wave done within this style, this category, this price point. Just pick up one of your top sculptor. That's nice. An advice for Wave is somebody from them decide to look at this video, but everybody else, like, other than that, this is like almost perfect at this price point. From Valerio is everything, guys. Have a nice week.